Grand Rising. Good dawn. So I wanted to. I had a thought after listening to Thomas Sheridan's live stream. He had a nice, rare car vlog. I kind of miss the vlogs he did in the woods too. Wish he'd do those again. But anyway, he was in his car doing his thing, and he was talking about how like analog stuff is being sought after, like going back to vinyl records. He said tapes are even coming back. I can understand why tapes would be coming back. I mean, like, I don't think there's nothing wrong with the convenience of the CD, the compact disc. If you need to have an off computer, off digital, I mean, CD is digital, but it's a little bit different because of how the file is preserved, and then the technology reading the file off the disc. It's very specifically different, but yeah, I'm in the vinyl right now. I'm driving a Honda Civic that doesn't have a USB fucking port, or even an aux port for that matter, and the CD player is broken. I think the tape deck might be broken with this old car. So I mean, like, I'm still modern audio through this, but you know, like I watched the Iron Claw film, like that's like 1970s, that's kind of right in the pocket, right? Like, in many respects, I think like 1970s might have been the best of both worlds, because you had plenty of you already had all the tech that we have now, but all of it was kind of like analog form, and none of it was portable, but it was all there in the late 1970s, and you could have almost had a perfect scenario if mankind was choosing a positive timeline at that time. But the 1970s was dark as fuck, though. The the kind of gnarly kind of things you saw in the 1970s in media, whether it be all the gruesome murders that we get on television, kicking itself off with the Manson family problem. Yeah, like eventually you'd have like punk music. Punk music comes out of England, but it's all England and America. We're kind of synonymous at this point. But you got like grindhouse pictures, heavy metal music, and heavy metal. Of course, it starts with Black Sabbath. As well as many of the other constructors of heavy metal, like Deep Purple, The Doors, etc., etc. And there's this exploration of the dark side that's going on. The world certainly needs shadow work, right? So the 1970s was a time that we got started doing shadow work too, because of all of the ugly that was getting spit out after the decade that preceded, with everything that was the hippie movement and the drug culture, right? And the life of the experience and the ensouled experience was not digital at all. Everybody was listening to vinyl in the 60s and 70s, right? And then there was 8-track situation, which was just another format of tape, cassettes, right? And I'm not sure about the audio fidelity of 8 tracks, but I do know that 8 tracks are very, like, you know, if you want to enjoy your music on it, I mean, like you just hit it and you go. And it was almost like one or two songs per like uh, per cartridge, if you will. Um, this kind of thing. We don't have to go that analog. I don't need that much analog in my life, but I just like I've been building up towards getting back into vinyl for a long, long time. My life didn't warrant it. You know, as far as my living space at the time was concerned, and my habits. Now that I'm a little bit more comfortable with a sense of going home and home base, and using that, you know, using more time at home because, you know, like I got my gym membership, but I ain't always up for the gym, or I forgot some stuff that I wouldn't want to go to the gym without, like, you know, like a change of like shirt or something like that. And, you know, me forgetting a change of shirt. Could you imagine? I actually went to work once and I had to work in my regular shirt because I thought I left my work shirt in the car. Because, you know, that's what I'm doing. Like, I'm going to work right now. Here's my work shirt. So, I'm a ridiculous person. And I would not have me any other fucking way. Well, I'm a ridiculous person, but I'm scary as fuck when it gets serious. Oh, believe me, I'm scary as fuck. Some of you have seen my serious side. For as much as I do this thing in the jovial manner that I do it, because you have to laugh at the face of death, you have to laugh at the face of the ultimate evil, to assert your dominance. I can do things that are very serious as a heart attack, right? There was not much room in many of my videos in 2020 and 2021 for comedy. I mean, there was, because I found it throughout it anyway. It was quite necessary. Oops. But yeah, in this work, in the consciousness movement, you know, in the wellness, wholeness, you know, organic movement, like it's all these things, and like doing stuff like listening to vinyl is the same thing, right? Vinyl records can't have your coded digital signal in it. I don't think it can anyway. You know, because it's such a directly raw, actualized experience. Just a needle on a groove, and then a magnetic amplifier of the vibratory frequencies coming off of the needle move. And it's stereotic. You know, it's like the left side of the groove is left channel. The right side of the groove that needle's riding is the right channel. And the needle knows how to freaking take that as stereo, run it through stereo out, and then I can run it through 7.1. And oh my god, I bought Black Sabbath, the Ultimate Collection, because it was payday. Said, okay, $45, I can get 2 discs. It's got just about everything I'm looking up. The only song it didn't have that I really wanted was Symptom of the Universe. Other than Symptom of the Universe, I'm pretty sure Symptom wasn't there. It had Hole in the Sky, though. Which, Hole in the Sky, that's kind of like Black Hole Sun. That's, you know, like, people have been paying attention on the esoteric level for the longest time. But yeah, no, it's just, especially for Black Sabbath, you know, if you're doing a band where you're like a power trio, point is you have one guitarist, right? The one guitarist is going to do doubling. He's going to do track doubling on the record to fill it out. Like I use a doubler pedal for my more pro recordings, like the way you hear my intro on the planned shows, like the Heidegger runs, like that's my guitar riff in the intro, right? That's doubled stereo using the pedal. So I only had to play it once, but then it gives me a digitally augmented variant of the exact same thing off by a hair, just like it would be in a regular studio production. And it gives it this fuller, robust stereo layout on the track. So that was a really great purchase. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I need for shit, and it is. And so listening to like Sabbath for the first time this way, I'm hearing that B track on the song, right? I'm hearing the doubled guitars, where I'm hearing the little nuances in the undertone of the riff that's under like the driving leading rhythm or lead guitar part, right? Because it's mixed a little bit in the background because it's complementing Geezer's bass, right? And so you're just sitting there and like I just love it when I hear that for the first time, because then it's just like my ear just has to go yank like that. It just has to go up. It's like, oh, let me hear that. Oh, right. Because I'm getting a new level, I'm getting a new layer. It's like listening, it's like we used to listen to music 5-dimensionally, and then we knocked ourselves down to 3-dimensional music. Right? You know, and now we have to jump back up to 5D music so we can have 5D Ascension, of course. Oh my god. And see, there's the vernacular again. My god. And just rolls off the tongue so easily. And, you know, and context is the higher force. And so my contention is that certain vernacular is not actually bad, just the context of it, right? So I'm very careful about when I drop God, and if I drop God and I feel like I haven't clarified that I'm talking about the higher force, I will, such as I am now, so that way nobody thinks that I have some sort of loose idea that I am an Abrahamic monotheist. I don't want anybody to get that impression at all, but I do want people to get the impression that I do believe that there is an oversoul that is understood as the all in the Kybalion, and that is the consciousness of the higher force, which is not monotheist, right? It's technically omnitheist. Can I say I'm an omnitheist? I like it. That rolls. See, I like it when it rolls off the fucking tongue. There's a truth when something rolls off the tongue, because there's the vernacular, but then there's the vernacular for English, right? And of course, if we say God, we're saying we mean goth, or got, or goat, or good, right? Because we're talking about Old Norse, Old Germanic, High Germanic, as such. You know, because I there's too many awesome lines that involve saying God, and yeah, we've been conditioned on the Abrahamic shit for that, right? Now there's other vernacular which, you know, like I've dropped the word bless. Bless means be less. It means iblis. The iblis. How many Muslims or ex-Muslims are listening here? We understand what iblis is, or the abyss. Or to bliss out. So no more blessings. Now I am bestowed. I am best owed. I am the best owned. Well, not best owned like you were the best owning of me, but you get it, right? Because what's be less? Like who's being less? Like, are you saying that you are being less because that person sneezed? Or are you saying you need to be less because you sneezed? Now, bestow, it doesn't matter who's bestowing. That's a win for everybody. Because it's a positive, affirming vernacular, and you're saying it in reflection. So that should make sense to you, right? Right? And so changing your vernacular, that's the same thing. It's just like, I listen to my media like it's the 1970s. I talk like it's the like the Romans hadn't taken over yet. It's just like picking your old schools and kind of putting it together, right? And I think this is more of a man's way of doing things because it appeals to the past. And men are about the past, remembering the past. Women are about the future, predicting the future, making, we make the future for the women, right? But we're not so good at making the future without their initiation. They your wife as a man should be your muse. That's the way I see it, right? It's just like she's got some vision in her head. You got to listen to her, and you got to understand what she wants. And this kind of gets locked up in the joke, about a guy who never knows what he did wrong, right? And that's because our whole society, that joke is true for our whole society because men aren't being challenged to have the healthier relationship that they did not get in their upbringing, right? And the upbringing didn't put it in there, when it was obvious. And not that it needs to even be put in, but more like it worked hard to replace it, at least by accident, right? As you adjust your behavior from purely within your family values to now it's a mix of your family values and the values of your friends and the values of the people that are your responsibility, that are responsible for you, your guardians, your teachers, so on and so forth. These people that have been handed over in trust for a period of time of your development, right? In these systems. And we turn those systems into something that has replaced almost all responsibilities of the parent on a daily basis, right? Like the night it's there, but in the day it's not. It's given over to someone else, right? The daughter doesn't just go and stick with the mother and learn from what the mother does because the job says, no, you can't have kids around here, right? And we don't have a world with a system functioning where you can just, have your kids around, that kind of thing. Because obviously you can't be that forever. I mean, like, you're a goddamn soldier. You're not taking your son, hey, son, we're going to the front line today. Are you excited? But women don't have to worry about that unless they are a shield maiden. What is a shield maiden? Someone who carries the injured and the dead back on a shield. That's the shield maidens. Those were combat nurses. Okay, that is a very easy thing to wrap around your head. A combat nurse is going to be prepared to defend herself. Is going to be prepared for enemies in the ranks and have to use her cunning. And she's also there to serve a very, very big deal, which is to treat a man with a serious injury so that way he may fight again for the tribe another day. All right. Where am I going? I am going to work like a responsible adult. Thanks for asking. Thanks for the beard.